The 61-year-old from Jacksonville, Florida, became a victim of squatters, a maddening situation that cost her more than $40,000 and put her in danger.
The squatting epidemic definitely hits close to home, and I think that it's a grand wealth gap conspiracy for Big Brother to squeeze dry the middle class. To me, it's the World Economic Forum's playbook of you'll own nothing and be happy. So I asked Meta AI how long evictions take in some major North American cities. For New York City, it's 2 months to a year. Los Angeles, 1 to 3 months. Dallas, 2 to 4 months. Vancouver, Canada, 2 to 4 months. And Toronto, Canada, 2 to 4 months. So Meta AI did also add that all of these timelines depends on circumstances. So I'm gonna go and assume that these are the best case scenarios and that actually getting the squatter out will take much longer. So the squatting epidemic really hit close to home because my uncle had a tenant that turned into a squatter. And it took him, according to him, a year to get that squatter evicted. But Vancouver laws, Vancouver, Canada laws, are much different than the laws in the US, right? So what we don't have is we don't have people that would break into a house with a fabricated lease saying that they've been rented the house without the landlord's permission or knowledge. So asking Meta for some average costs, we have eviction costs between 0 to 10K and eviction attorney fees somewhere between $500 to $10,000. And we're gonna assume that an eviction concerning squatters is gonna be a complex case, so it's gonna be taking you 10 to 20 hours to get the eviction done, at least 10 to 20 hours. And assuming that the average price for a lawyer is $250 an hour, you're looking at 2.5 to 5K in order to get the eviction done. And that's not all. You know that the lawyers, once they catch wind that you're going through an eviction process, they are going to take advantage of the opportunity to milk you for all you're worth.
Put it to the house, pay me the money, and I'll leave. Or send me to court, and we deal with the judge in court.
I can see that they've changed the lock on the front door. How is that not breaking an entry?
So back to the story, my uncle said that the eviction cost him something like 40 grand because he had a tenant turn squatter because the tenant had something like a disability or maybe it was a job loss. But the bottom line was there was no income for the tenant or the squatter, which means that there's no income for my uncle. But at the same time, my uncle had to keep on paying the electricity and the water and the utilities. And it's illegal in most places to turn off utilities to try to evict a tenant. So he couldn't do that. And a 2-bedroom in Vancouver is something like around $3,000 to $4,000. So we'll take the average, let's say 3.5K. So if we take that times 12 for the whole year, he basically lost out $42,000. And we're not counting any legal fees. So if we tack on legal fees of, let's say, $10,000 for his legal fees, that is $52,000 that he lost just because his tenant has turned into a squatter. So my uncle strongly dislikes the Canadian government. We have these crazy laws for squatters in addition to the crazy high property taxes that we have to pay. But this is not specific to Vancouver. From the sounds of it, it sounds like New York City and Los Angeles also have the same problem, given that I've never actually rented or lived in New York City or LA. So if you live in one of those two cities, what is it really like over there? Is it similar or worse than how Vancouver sounds like? Let me know in the comments below. So my uncle, everyone in my family thinks that my uncle is rich. But that's from a worldview. My worldview is that my uncle is clearly in the middle class. And don't get me wrong, the dude worked hard for what he has, for what he has accomplished. My dad and my parents are of the low income because growing up, my dad just cared more about fun than money compared to my uncle. And that terrifies me because right now, they really do depend on their renter in order to pay the mortgage and to pay the bills. But what happens if that renter turns into a squatter? That would completely destroy them. And it is because of that I have this very big fear, this terrifying nagging in my stomach that if that happens, my parents are going to be out in the street at 70 years old.
Maybe I'm seeing everything the wrong way. Maybe I'm missing a piece of the puzzle that would make this all make sense.
So from my current view, what it looks like is that the government is trying to screw the middle class. They are trying to milk everything out of homeowners and landlords with the squatter weapons that they have dictated in this wealth gap conspiracy, with the one aim of forcing middle-class homeowners to force sell their property when legal fees have sucked them dry, which ultimately helps them accomplish their goals. You will own nothing and you will be happy.